Hello, welcome once again to our weekly presentation from Tanlo Solicitors. My name is Andrew Nyamayaro and I'm a solicitor at Tanlo Solicitors. In our firm, we do help clients with different areas of law. We do immigration law, employment, wills, probate, dispute resolution, corporate and business law, charity law, and we are also commissioners of oath. So we do have quite a number of areas that we can assist you with. If you have got an issue, you can contact us, and if we cannot be able to help you, we have got colleagues within the sector that we can refer you to that can assist you as much as they can do. Today I am here to speak about protection, which is also known as asylum. So many times I do get questions about asylum. So people ask me, can I claim asylum? What is asylum? What is the process of claiming asylum? Can I have dependents on asylum? And so forth. So today I thought that I can do a short presentation on this. So the issue of protection is regulated or is considered under international laws. Of course, each country has got its own domestic laws, but there are international conventions that are out there. And if someone is claiming asylum, it is because they've got fear of persecution for reasons that are recognized internationally. They might be afraid for their life because of political opinion, race, nationality, membership of a particular social group, and religion. Under politics, someone is afraid to go back to their home country, or someone has fled their home country because of political tensions or political persecution. You could be a member of the opposition, you could be a member of the public, but who's facing risk because of political tensions within the country. Then under race, it could be people persecuting each other because of their race, because of their color, or their appearance. So that will fall under race. Then in religion, people are being persecuted because of a particular belief that they hold, which could be maybe in the minority, or it could be a sect of a major religious belief, but they're a small sect, and so forth. So you do find maybe Christians are fighting against them, or maybe people fighting within each other when they are Muslims or Hindu, and so forth, because of the different sects that exist between those major sects of religion. Nationality is another ground on which someone can also claim asylum. A bit more complicated on this one. Then lastly, membership of a particular social group. Someone can also claim asylum on the basis of being a member of a particular social group. This is because they have got a natural characteristic which they cannot get rid of, an innate characteristic that they have, and they are being persecuted because of that. So in certain communities, women have got their private parts mutilated, FGM, female genital mutilation. Women are sometimes treated as second-class citizens in certain communities. People are also persecuted because of their sexuality. So if you are gay, or you are lesbian, or you identify yourself in any other sexuality, the LGBTQ plus, then in certain communities, people are persecuted because of that. In certain communities as well, people are persecuted because they fall into love with someone whom they love instead of going by someone who is an arranged marriage. You have to go with someone that the family has arranged for you. So there is different things that also fall under membership of a particular social group. It could be victim of domestic violence if it is accepted that they constitute a class, members of the victims of domestic violence, and so forth. So that's why it is important for you to seek legal advice if you want to claim asylum or if you want to seek protection from persecution. So the persecution might be a reason why you have left your country. And if you're coming to the UK fleeing persecution and you use illegal ways of entering to the UK, then the Home Office is treating that as a suitability and good character issue. And under the proposals that have been done by the Home Office, which are under consideration, if someone comes into the UK illegally, then they are likely to take up to 30 years to get indefinite leave to remain. And also a recent change that happened is that the dependents can no longer come here for free. They have to pay for their fees, the IHS, like any other person. There are other considerations that are being considered under the regime of the white paper, which was introduced last year around the period of March, April time, when the white paper was introduced, and it has been rolled out in installments over the year. So if the reason for your persecution existed before you came and you have arrived in the UK, you need to claim your asylum as soon as possible. If you do not claim your asylum at the port of entry, or if passed through other countries that have got safety in them, safe routes, and you've not claimed in them, so you passed through Europe or you transited through other countries that are safe, then that will be taken against you by the Home Office. Why didn't you claim in those other same safe countries and you're coming to claim here in the United Kingdom? Delay is another factor that the Home Office considers. Why have you delayed claiming asylum? So you need to claim as soon as you are aware of the reasons. Some of the reasons might start when you're already in the UK. So you're already here, maybe you're a student or you're a skilled worker or you're a dependent, and war breaks out in your country or something happens in your country or whatever it is, then you cannot go back because of that. You've been warned of the risk, or if you are in the UK and your family members have received intelligence that you are being sought after, you're being looked for by members of, say, a ruling party or the state apparatus and so forth, then you might claim asylum on that basis, but you have to do it as soon as possible, even if you are already in the country. Because if you do not do that, then it might end up affecting your credibility, and it might also fall under the suitability requirements. So those are the major grounds on which someone can claim asylum. But what is the process? At the moment, the Home Office is considering overhauling the whole system. It might change anytime soon. The Home Office, even under the previous government, had proposed that people that claim asylum could have to be relocated to a third-party country. That has been changed, but some other aspects are still applicable of the proposals that were outlined by the previous government. So the process is you contact the Home Office, you give them a call. Sometimes they will then promise to give you a call back, and then you call them back. They invite you for the intake interview, which is a summary of your case. You do give them a summary of everything. So they ask you about your information, your personal information about your country, and so forth. And if you don't have any documentation, they might need to establish, really, are you from that country that you're claiming to be from, and so forth. And at that stage, you have to mention any dependents that we have that are already in the country with you, or any that are still outside the country that may in the future potentially become your dependents. You need to mention them as well. So you're giving a summary of your case. At that stage is where the Home Office might want to know whether or not you've got sufficient means to support yourself and you've got accommodation. If you don't have accommodation or the means, you have to tell them that you don't have the accommodation and the means, and they will put you in temporary accommodation. We have heard over the news issues relating to the asylum hotels and so forth. That has been issues that has been headline news in most newspapers and on the TV. So if you want support, you tell them you want support. If is it just accommodation? Is it also to do with funds? If you claim for funds and you came to the UK saying that you have got funds, so maybe you came as a student saying that you've got funds in your account, or as a visitor, you would want to do an analysis of whatever information that you submitted to them, for them to be convinced that you don't have the money. If you still have the money, then they might ask you to consider using that money in the meantime, and so forth. So support will be out there. If you cannot get support from the government or home office itself, then you have to consider looking at third parties, such as charities that can be able to give you support. After the screening interview at the home office, if they're giving you accommodation, you'll be transported to the temporary accommodation. If not, then you can go back to wherever you are staying. Another important point to note is that if you are claiming asylum and you want the support, the accommodation, you cannot detect where you're going to stay. So the Home Office will give you accommodation wherever they've got space available. So you have to go there. I know there's been issues relating to the type of accommodation that people have been given, the quality of the accommodation, or the nature of the accommodation. There was at one time a boat or a ship where people were staying, the young single men and so forth, or staying in a barracks and so forth. So those are some of the things that have been challenged by lawyers when the Home Office implements this. So after the intake, you will then be called for your main interview. The Home Office previously was taking a lot of time, but of late I'm seeing that the cases that they are doing now, fresh new cases, they are doing it fairly very quickly. So you need to know what you are doing. You need to have advice. You need to know what sort of evidence to submit, if any. We know that the burden of proof in asylum cases is not as onerous as in other areas of law, but at least there has to be evidence that is credible, whether through your own statement or evidence of document or information that is available to you or online that can give credence to what you are saying. In the interview, they will ask you about your case, the circumstances, the persecution that you suffered, about your family, the work, the schools that you went to, exact events that happened, what problems were there, why is it your government cannot protect you, why is it the police or the army, the state apparatus cannot protect you, why is it that you cannot relocate to another part of the country. And if you don't have anything that is a document to show that you are from the country that you are claiming to be from, then they will ask you questions about your country, so the economy of your country, the geography of your country, the political structure, etc. So they will ask you a lot of questions. And if you claim to come from a particular area, they will also ask you a lot of questions about that. So effectively, you need to know your case in and out. If you cannot speak English, then you need to ask for an interpreter to help you in your local language. And again, the Home Office is saying that those people that cannot speak English, after a while, they need to integrate into the community. So you need to learn to do the English over time, even if maybe you are here and you cannot speak English initially. So that's one of the things that also is considered as a minus factor when you're going under through the end settlement and so forth. So they'll ask you about your case and your family and so forth. If your dependents are here, they are not necessarily interviewed themselves. It's you who is the person seeking protection. But if you've got children that are over the age of 18, then they will have to submit their own independent asylum claims, even if it means that they are going to just say that I don't have anything myself, but I rely on what my mother or the father is saying, because if I go back, I will be persecuted because I'm a child of my father or a child of my mother. So those ones have to do themselves. The Home Office might agree with you and grant you protection, which is called refugee status. They might disagree with you and refuse your application. They might request further information or call you for one or two more interviews. No one can predict how long the interview is going to be. It can be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it is. But just prepare yourself for whatever the Home Office is going to ask you, because they will ask you to free the whole day. And also, with the interview, if you cannot understand your caseworker who is interviewing you, you have to make sure that you say it. You ask questions to be clarified. If you are using an interpreter, make sure you're understanding each other with the interpreter. If you're not understanding with each other with the interpreter, then you need really to tell the Home Office that you cannot understand each other with the interpreter. I had a case that was in court, and the interpreter who speaks the same language, but is from a different country, but speaks the same language with my country, with my client, but because of their accent and so forth, they could not understand each other, and we had to adjourn that hearing to get someone whom my client can understand. So, what happens in the interview is quite important. Your body language is quite important as well. The way you talk, the tone, and so forth. We know that people that have suffered persecution may, at the end of the day, not act or react the way that a person who has not suffered persecution normally reacts. Some of them he has got PTSD, post trauma disorder, stress and disorder, but some don't. So it's also a matter of, I know the Home Office is not only listening to what you are saying, they are also observing what you are doing in terms of your activities and so forth. And it might also be necessary in terms of your evidence to produce your own statement, evidence to show that you have been persecuted, medical evidence, evidence from organizations that are helping you. If you're a member of a political party, for example, do you have membership of that particular party? Were you a part of the leadership and so forth? Just as an example of what I'm trying to convey to yourselves here. So with the asylum, the Home Office, if they decide to say that they're going to give you the asylum, then they will give you 5 years. At the moment, 5 years. Like I said, changes are coming, but it's 5 years at the moment. And once they give you the refugee status, you're now entitled to stay in the UK as a refugee. And currently, you are entitled to claim benefits. That's something that is being proposed to be changed as well. You can claim benefits. You can go to university as a local student. You can go to work, start a business, and so forth. You can travel around the country, but the only country that you cannot go to is your home country, because you are saying you're suffering persecution from there, so obviously you cannot go there. And the Home Office is also proposing or thinking or have said that someone that then gains the British nationality, for example, as a protected person, why do they have to go back to their country if you're on settlement? And now they actually write it as refugee settlement, so that you cannot go back to your home country and when you're on settlement. So asylum is the period of asylum is being reconsidered by the Home Office as well, so that it becomes a longer period. And if at any time the circumstances in your country changes, then the Home Office would have to review your case as well. So those are some of the things that are happening and proposed in terms of the asylum. So I've commented on when it is successful, your family will also get leave to remain in line with yourself as well. If they're already in the UK, if they're outside the UK, you can bring them over, but there is now the requirement that you need to pay for their fees, and you also need to they need to meet the other requirements that are there, just as the requirements that are met by dependents of British or settled dependents as well. If your application is not successful, then sometimes the Home Office would say, this case is fiction. We do not at all believe this case. And they will certify it as clearly unfounded. In that case, you cannot appeal it. If you want to challenge it, then you have to consider judicial review. In other cases, if they refuse it, they will then give you a right of appeal. And other cases are already certified, even when you claim asylum. For example, if you're a male from Nigeria, the cases are already certified as clearly unfounded and so forth under the law, etc. So you need to just to know all these things, what's going to happen. If you are given the right of appeal, then you can then submit an appeal to the court. An appeal is a topic on its own. I will not touch on it today, but you need to submit it within 14 days of you receiving the decision. And then normally it has to be, if you've got dependents, they also have to submit it. If you are not on legal aid, or if you are not on, you don't have a fee waiver, or you don't have an exemption of paying the court fees, then you will need to pay the court fees when you submit your appeal. When you claim asylum, you will get a lot of documents, and one of the documents that you will get is the bail form, or the bail document, whereby the Home Office will tell you your bail conditions, if you're allowed or not allowed to work, if you have to reside at a particular address, or you have to abide by certain conditions that are already mentioned in there. So it just depends on your circumstances. People that are moving from another visa to asylum might continue with their current conditions, like right to work, driving and whatever. Nothing changes until the decision is made. But someone who doesn't have any leave at all might have conditions like you're not allowed to work, and with the necessary conditions like you cannot rent a house, you cannot open a bank account, you cannot do this and that and so forth. So it's again dependent on your particular circumstances, what the Home Office is going to say and do. It might also ask you to report. So reporting to the Home Office can be done physically, face-to-face, where you go to a reporting center or the nearest police station. Sometimes they will ask you to report remotely. It's now quite common these days that the Home Office will ask you to report remotely, either through text or a telephone call and so forth. So they might ask you to report as part of the bail conditions. People do get scared when they see the word bail. They'll think, oh, am I being a criminal, or things like that. It's just that's the word that the Home Office uses when they are giving you your freedom, at least to stay in the community without necessarily detaining you, so that they can deal with your asylum whilst you are detained. So in summary, and as a quick tour of the process, this is what is there about asylum. You need to seek legal advice. You might go to lawyers. The government has got what is called legal aid. Most people, for their first step of asylum, they do qualify for legal aid. They do understand and know that there is a shortage of legal aid lawyers for whatever reasons. That is a topic on its own, which I will not touch on today. But other lawyers don't have legal aid. They do charge their clients on a private basis. So you might, if you go to other lawyers, you have to pay for their services privately, or someone else, a well-wisher or a family member, can pay their fees for you when you are claiming the asylum. So that is it for today. And today I've touched on the process of asylum, the reasons for claiming asylum, or dependence of asylum seekers, the prospective decisions that the Home Office might make, immigration bail, certified decisions, If you are successful with your asylum, what are the conditions that you will have when you claim asylum? If you want support, accommodation, and finances, how do you claim it? What are you entitled to, and so forth. If you have got any questions, you can put them in the chats. I will peruse through the questions and respond to you. Our contact details are available, so you can see our contact details there. So you can contact us on WhatsApp, on the telephone, on email. We do have members of staff that are there with us. So you might not necessarily talk to me. It's not really necessary for you to talk to me. We have got other equally qualified and experienced lawyers within the firm who will be able to assist you with your case. So thank you so much. Can you please subscribe to our YouTube channel? We've got a lot of videos on our YouTube channel, or you can also like our Facebook page for Tanlo Solicitors, where we give regular updates as well. So thank you so much, and we will meet again next week.